brought to you by Palm Wonderful. 100% pure pomegranate juice with 4 whole pomegranates in every 16-ounce bottle. Look for it in produce.
103.9 Proud FM. This is Your Morning with Richard and Chris. And joining us on the line, the most recent outcast, unfortunately, from RuPaul's Drag Race Season 3. Mimi, I'm first. How are you, my lover?
Hey, guys.
Now,
I'm great. How you doing?
We're good. I just need to start this off by saying they picked on you, honey.
From day one, girl.
Oh, they had your number there. They were not having you. And I have to say, I loved your Lee Bowery.
No, they weren't.
No. Now, what do you think was the problem?
You know, I think what happens a lot of the time is that people don't always understand what isn't the same from their day-to-day experiences.
Right.
You know, whenever somebody enters a situation and they are just not like anything you've seen before, people immediately get defensive and of it, and they question it. You know, I've been dealing with that my entire life. And I think I was just really surprised to see that within, you know, a community of people that, you know, should understand what it's like to be different from everybody else. But when you're even different from the people who are different from everybody else, you know, sometimes people get a little uneasy about it. So it happens.
Now, where are you from originally, Mimi?
I'm from Maine originally.
Now, is there a big drag community out there in Maine?
Not at all. You know, there's a great drag community there. It's just not big. You know, it was always a very small, tight-knit, close, you know, group of friends. But it's not a huge drag scene. You know, Maine is you know, very spread out, as you know.
Yes.
So, you know, there's probably it's a gigantic state, and there's probably maybe 6 or 7 gay bars in the entire state.
So it's the Canada of America.
Maine is its own thing. Maine is weird because it's not conservative at all. It's sort of bizarrely liberal in that people are conservative-minded. However, they have sort of a live and let live philosophy. Like, as long as what you're doing doesn't interfere with the other person's life, they're going to let you live your life. So it's very interesting because there's a lot of like very liberal people who live in Maine. You know, and there's sort of a very weirdly big queer community. But I find that one-on-one, not everybody in the state is always open-minded.
So Drag Race Season 3 has been pretty interesting. Last week you had to do a sci-fi thing, and this week you had to actually make a exercise video. How was that experience?
It was, you know, what's great about RuPaul's Drag Race is that they keep you on your toes from the moment you show up in LA to the moment that you leave. You know, they're always throwing you something interesting and something new to do. What I loved about the show was just that, you know, there was always something new to try to do. You know, I was like, oh, Lord, here comes an exercise challenge. You know, this is going to be frightening. So, you know, it definitely keeps you on your toes, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then during lip sync,
I had so much fun.
And then when you were lip syncing for your life, you actually picked up your competitor up over your shoulders, and that made RuPaul say this isn't a contact sport. But would you agree with that? Because I don't know, RuPaul's Drag Race seems pretty contact for me.
I've seen drag on Church Street here in Toronto, and it's pretty contact too. I'll tell you what.
Well, I have to tell you, first of all, not to get off topic, but I've had some of the best times of my life on Church Street in Toronto. I really, really have.
Well, you're not alone, my dear.
But, you know, you know, the thing is that, you know, everybody has an opinion about what their standards and ethics should be, how you should do it. And for some people, that was really shocking, you know, and it wasn't appropriate, you know, and here's the reality. The reality is that I've actually been picking people up in my show for 10 years. And spinning them around over my head, and yeah, I really have been. You know, like anyone who knows me, who's been to my show, is like, you know, last night when they saw it, they were just like, well, she's been doing that for 10 years. You know, it was just the wrong place for me to decide to share that part of my show with the world. You know, it was pretty stupid. You know, like as I like watched it, I was like, oh my Mimi, why the hell did you do that? That it made No sense whatsoever. And what's funny is that, and Shangela said it in the first episode, when RuPaul tells you have to lip sync for your life, you really feel like you're lip syncing for your life. It's a very weird situation, and I don't think anyone who hasn't done it can fully understand when you're up there on the runway and she says that and the lights change, your heart goes into your stomach, and all of a sudden you kind of stop thinking. You kind of just start doing, and there's, this is your last chance, essentially. You never know, and the reality is, if I hadn't done it, if I hadn't picked her up,
right,
I still could have gone home. You know what I mean? So at least I went home for making a choice, as opposed to going home for being the worst lip syncer of the two.
Well, and no one will ever forget you.
That's something I'll stand by.
Yeah, no one will ever forget you.
No, and if it doesn't work out, I have a career in either the World Wrestling Federation or the NFL. So, I'm gonna, maybe if the Steelers had me on their team, they would have won the Super Bowl.
Well, now the other thing, I'm a big girl myself. You were the first of the big girls kicked off. One of the problems I felt, especially Shangela, she seemed to have this theory like you had to be pretty or you had to make an effort, and just showing up and almost looking like a girl to begin with wasn't enough. And do you feel that a lot of people, because of the way people look at real women, that it is a fallover into the drag community? If you're a girl of size in drag, you can be dismissed as well?
Oh, totally. I think that all those standards of size and like the desire for everybody to be skinny and this perfect Barbie doll it exists in all communities, and I actually think it's heightened in the drag community, because we all know that gay men can be even more tough on body image than than the straight community in some ways. It sort of stems back to for me, the whole thing with like body image in the gay community actually stems back to the AIDS crisis, because when it initially happened, everybody got pumped up because they believed that if you looked healthy, then you were healthy, and so we have had this inherent. There's that going on, and then the other thing is that we flip through the magazines. When girls flip through the magazines, they see pictures of skinny girls, and they say, "Oh, I should look like that." Well, when a gay man flips through a magazine and they see like a hot guy, they say, "Not only do I have to look like that, but I have to be attracted to that as well." It's very it's so built up upon itself in the gay community, and especially in the drag community. There's just so many standards that some people have, and it's different where you're from, and and what you're trying to do. But it was funny because her point was, that she was trying to make was that if you are not skinny and you're not pretty, then you're not good enough. And my point was, I get it. I'm not looking like a supermodel. I'm not trying to look like a supermodel, because pretty is only interesting for 20 seconds. When a pretty girl comes out and does a number on stage, what happens for the rest of the time? Do something
eventually
interesting.
She has to talk.
Yeah.
So, Mimiam first,
So-
we're so sad to see you go. But now you're off the show. You got a dish of dirt for us. Who do we love? Who do we hate? Who are we hoping
Who's
goes
next?
home? Who do we want to win?
Oh my God! I have to tell you, there's some sisters on that show I adore. I have known Manila for years. I think she's sickening. I just was so happy when she was there, and I think she's amazing. I fell in love with Raja from the moment she walked through the door.
Fabulous.
She won me over. Raja is so interesting and just so fabulous. And I have to tell you, I post all of the drama of Drag Race, I have really gotten to know Shangela very well, and the two of us are great, and she's pretty damn funny. So, I think those are definitely some people to watch out for.
I love how Shangela likes to keep it real, but my advice to her is to keep it to herself. She's always trying to get somebody to tell her what she thinks, and then she fights with them after. It's like, oh, calm down.
Well, it's a TV show.
It makes for great TV.
You take 12 or 13 drag queens and lock them up in a room and give them booze.
That's right. Absolute cocktails.
What do you think is going to happen? I have to tell you, when Shangela just threw the drink at me, I was like, "What are you doing, wasting a perfectly good cocktail? What are you doing?" Thank God she threw it at me, because mine was empty. I was thirsty, so
So, Mimi, what have you got lined up next? What's happening with you in your career?
I have so much going on. Everybody can always go to my website, mimiimfirst.com. They can buy T-shirts and CDs and DVDs and things like that. I'm in the middle of a 100-city tour right now. I have not been out of drag in 31 days.
Oh.
It's just gotten crazy. And I have a band right now, a girl group. It's me and two straight girls. And the name of the group is called Excel, Xelle, and our single, Party Girl, is just blowing up right now. We the song debuted on MTV's The Seven last week, which is just amazing to get to hear my song on MTV.
Nope,
and it's been on the radio now, and it's blowing up all over the internet. And we're in the middle of making the music video, which is when that video comes out. Trust me, you're gonna love it.
So you don't need RuPaul's Drag Race.
I would never say that, to be honest with you. Everything leads to something else.
Sure.
I think the difference between me and a lot of the girls is that they think RuPaul's Drag Race is the top step of the ladder. For me, RuPaul's Drag Race is the second step on the ladder, and there's 6 more steps to go before you can change the light bulb. Do you know what I mean? I have much bigger aspirations than being on RuPaul's Drag Race, which has been an amazing experience, and it's going to help me to get to the next level, because I do have a lot more to offer than I feel like the show portrayed.
Right. Well, thank you so much, and best of luck and continued success. And we look forward to seeing you on the reunion show.
You're going to be seeing a lot of me in the future, so don't worry.